From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Cannabis in the Copper State. A look at the new Chamber of Commerce created to advocate for legalizing recreational marijuana in Arizona.
Plus, the Fair Pay to Play Act. See what Governor Ducey had to say about the move to allow college athletes to make endorsement deals.
And why you might start seeing more e-bikers exploring national parks across the country.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening. I'm Madison LaBerge.
And I'm Daria Yasmin. Our big story tonight, a cannabis chamber of commerce created with one mission: to make recreational marijuana legal here in Arizona.
Cronkite News reporter Mariah Gallegos has some insight on how the new chamber plans to do that. Mariah?
It's a fight nearly 10 years in the making. In 2010, Arizona voters joined the other states in legalizing the use of medical marijuana with Prop 203. Then in 2016, the Arizona Marijuana Legislation Initiative was on the ballot, but Prop 205 was defeated. The next year, another initiative was started. Paperwork for the Safer Arizona Cannabis Act was filed, but it didn't get enough valid signatures to get on the ballot. Now, the latest initiative, Smart and Safe Arizona, submitted its paperwork to the state's Legislative Council for a legal analysis and review. The deadline is July 2nd of 2020. The referendum needs 237,645 signatures from registered voters to qualify for the ballot.
The Arizona Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, also known as AZC3, wants to bring change to the Smart and Safe Arizona proposed initiative to legalize the recreational use of marijuana.
The goal for the Arizona Cannabis Chamber of Commerce is to promote professionalism and ethics across the industry, as well as to support small businesses in the marijuana space.
Susan Wang is the CEO of a national portfolio of cannabis brands. She believes the mix of professions which make up the group can better serve the community.
There are attorneys and there are accounting firms, there's a payment solutions, there's banking, there's other experts with the certification and laboratories that are involved. And that's actually what we need in Arizona, the diversity. Because how can you let just the dispensary owners to decide the fate of adult use here in Arizona?
If the legislation is passed, Arizona would join the District of Columbia and 11 other states, highlighted in bright green, which have legalized marijuana for recreational use. AZC3 is not against the recreational use of marijuana in Arizona, but they are pushing for changes to the proposed initiative. And if not, they will take their changes to the legislator.
We know all the benefits this product's brought to patients, especially our veterans with PTSD and mental illnesses. And we want to make sure that as many people get this product that need it, and also that they get it in a very safe and healthy way.
After speaking with members who attended the launch of AZC3, many believe after the 2016 initiative was defeated by just 2.64%, Arizona has a chance of becoming a recreational use state. Mariah Gallegos, Cronkite News.
Vice President Mike Pence is visiting Phoenix this week to celebrate Republican Senator Martha McSally at a reception tonight. Tomorrow, he'll take part in a roundtable discussion with Hispanic leaders at a Scottsdale church. After that, Pence is scheduled to give remarks on the United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement down south in Green Valley.
And we just learned Democratic presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke is making his first visit to Arizona since joining the 2020 race for his party's nomination. The former Texas congressman will hold town halls in Phoenix and Tucson on Sunday. According to his campaign, O'Rourke plans to talk about the Trump administration's treatment of immigrants and asylum seekers.
Lying, despicable, lowlife. Those were just some of the words President Donald Trump used today to describe House Democrats and their impeachment inquiry.
Republicans have been rising to the president's defense for the most part, and now an Arizona lawmaker is taking the reins of the conservative group that is squarely on Trump's side. Cronkite News reporter Heather Cumberledge has the story from our Washington bureau.
It doesn't come with an office or a staff or a pay raise, but colleagues say it was still kind of a big deal when Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs took over yesterday as chairman of the Freedom Caucus.
I'm excited that Andy Biggs is going to be the chairman of the Freedom Caucus. I mean, this is a very influential caucus throughout the United States, and our own Arizona, Andy Biggs, is now the newly elected chairman.
Biggs was elected September 10th to lead the group of hard-right House members, and he came to the job with an agenda and an arsenal of tweets.
Number one is to continue pushing the conservative agenda in Congress and working with the system that we have. The second thing is we want to realize that, and we do realize that the 2020 election is right around the corner, and we have to get that, we think we need to get that majority back.
Former chairman and Freedom Caucus founding member Jim Jordan of Ohio praised Biggs' selection in a statement. He said, "Representative Biggs is a leader. He will do a great job as chairman of the Freedom Caucus, fighting for the countless number of Americans who feel this town has forgotten them." All 4 of Arizona's Republican House members belong to the caucus, and Biggs noted that fellow Arizona Representative Paul Gosar is chair of the conservative Western Caucus. Biggs said he hopes to continue to use the caucus to advance national issues.
Well, Congressman Jordan and Congressman Meadows have just built this great foundation and lifted the Freedom Caucus to a national platform, and we're going to continue working on that.
But also for Arizona issues.
Plan that we did, that had nothing to do with Freedom Caucus, but it would have been nice to be able to go to Freedom Caucus and say, this is why this is important. Passed unanimously out of both houses, but it really, I think, allows us to raise some of those issues the way my colleague Paul Gosar has with the Western Caucus.
Biggs is just in his 2nd term in Congress, but Lesko said she is confident he can do the job.
I trust him. He's a principled conservative and isn't hostile, isn't full of a lot of rhetoric. He's pretty calm, tries to work things through, and really stands up for what he believes in, and I think he's going to be a good leader of our group.
Biggs didn't wait to become chairman to defend Trump. Last week, he called for a censure of California Congressman Adam Schiff, the Democrat in charge of the House Intelligence Committee, a move he said today has 29 co-sponsors. In Washington, Heather Cumberledge, Cronkite News.
Native American and Hispanic leaders told a panel of members of Congress Tuesday decisions to reduce the number of polling stations and restrict early voting has disenfranchised members of their community. Native American leaders said their tribal members live in isolated and rural areas and have little access to voting locations. And many also use Navajo as their primary language and don't always have access to adequate translation services.
Developing now, California Governor Gavin Newsom recently signed the Fair Pay to Play Act, allowing student athletes to make money from endorsements.
Cronkite sports reporter Brady King is standing by now with the reaction from Arizona's governor. Brady?
This is a hot topic for debate not only in California, but across the country. On Monday, Newsom tweeted, "Colleges reap billions from student athletes, but block them from earning a single dollar. That's a bankrupt model." While LeBron James and others are in support, not everyone is on board because this could change the landscape of college sports as we know it. Here's what Arizona Governor Doug Ducey had to say about it when I caught up with him last night.
Well, I am a college football and basketball fan. I love college sports. I love amateur sports. I want to make sure that there's a proper care for these young people so that they can participate in the game that they love. I don't want to see a state, especially California, have a competitive advantage on Arizona. I don't think there should be a race among governors to outbid each other. I think this is a national issue. It's why we call it a national championship. It's why we call it the National Collegiate Athletic Association. I'd like to see some leadership from that association. I know that Gavin Newsom has signed a law that's gone into effect. I want to make sure we protect what's special and unique about college sports and address some of these issues as well.
This new law is scheduled to take effect in 2023 and will make California the first state to allow student athletes to profit off their name, image, and likeness. In the broadcast center, Brady King, Cronkite News.
Longtime Arizona Cardinals owner Bid Bidwell has died.
Coming up, a look back at the NFL's iconic legacy as athletes across Arizona take to social media to remember Mr. B.
Also coming up after the break, treating youth anxiety, how one organization is giving kids and teens the tools they need to tackle emotional obstacles.
Cronkite Noticias is the Spanish-speaking division of Cronkite News, covering topics such as economics, education, sustainability, immigration, and border relations. Cronkite Noticias strives to serve the Spanish-speaking community in Arizona. Under the guidance of prominent Spanish-speaking professionals, students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism develop content for our broadcast partner, Univision, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. Explore Cronkite Noticias at cronkitenoticias.azpbs.org.
Stay in the know on the go. At Cronkite News, we work hard to report the facts and keep you updated, whether we're on set or on the scene.
Taking it from the studio to the field. So I'm here in South Phoenix.
In Phoenix, we're just a click away. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
New efforts are underway right now to help children who suffer from anxiety and depression.
Cronkite News reporter Ashley Stewart spoke with a school psychologist and other experts looking for innovative solutions.
Stress over school, making friends, and social media. These are just some of the worries causing a rise in anxiety and depression in kids under 18. Many still aren't getting treatment, but here in Arizona, some experts are working to fix that.
How are we going to teach our kids to kind of be more self-aware and manage their own emotions and problem solve? And that's, I think, across the country becoming a bigger ordeal.
School psychologist Ashley Cronebetter wants to give her students more tools to help them cope.
We have an intervention team, and so for any of those kiddos that need that extra support, whether that's small group or just checking in one-on-one, we track it that way and monitor, like, are they using their tools? You know, is it being successful? Are they, maybe having to leave class less?
More than 8% of kids ages 6 to 17 have been diagnosed with anxiety or depression, but there is still a need for more resources. Ryan Stoll is the co-creator of Compass for Courage, a program designed to prevent chronic anxiety in children.
Can we take what is known to be some of the best available evidence-based tools for child anxiety, package it into a game-based program, and deliver it through community settings like schools?
The program uses board games, role-playing, and other methods to teach kids to overcome emotional obstacles.
Our Face It game, for example, we have all these situations here that are, really commonly anxiety-provoking within the schools, and we help them, identify some that are like a 3 or 4 on what we call our yikes thermometer.
Diana Diaz Harrison is a mother of an autistic son who struggles with anxiety. She knows knowing your child's triggers and working with their school can help minimize disruptive behavior.
Your child might need a certain type of accommodation or structure, and to not be ashamed, because everybody has needs and it's just okay to ask.
Stoll wants kids and their parents to know it's okay to worry, but help is out there.
You can do something about it. You have the power to reduce that anxiety so you can, thrive in anything that you do.
Compass is in 50 schools in Arizona and has plans to expand across the nation. Live in the broadcast center, Ashley Stewart, Cronkite News.
Bill Bidwell, whose family has owned the Arizona Cardinals for almost 80 years, has died. He passed away surrounded by his family and loved ones, according to multiple reports. Bidwell was part of the NFL family his entire life, starting from his days as a ball boy. Scotty Gange is joining us live with the reaction from the team. Scotty?
Yeah, Arizona Cardinals longtime team owner Bill Bidwell passed away this morning at the age of 88. Now, Bidwell spent over 8 decades with the Cardinals. Bidwell's life as a Cardinal began when his father Charles bought the team in 1932, where Bill rose from ball boy to owner. Now, Cards president and Bill's second oldest son, Michael Bidwell, said in a statement, quote, "Our dad passed away today the same way he lived his life, peacefully, with grace, dignity, and surrounded by family and loved ones," end quote. Now, 16-year wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald and former Cardinals quarterback Jake Plummer shared their sentiments on the man simply known as Mr. B.
I know there were numerous times sitting with him and talking football. You know, he was a walking historian when it came to the game of football and where it started and how it's been built. And it was always very intriguing and interesting to sit and talk with him.
When I got here, he was still, running things, and I would imagine the first pick overall in the draft, had to have his blessing, and without his blessing, there's no way, I would have been here, and there's no telling what my career would have been if he didn't believe in me.
In his lifetime with the Cardinals, Bidwell was as connected with the organization and the Sea of Red as anyone, and he will be deeply missed not only with the Cardinals, but with the Arizona community as a whole. From the newsroom, Scotty Gange, Cronkite News.
Cardinals fans and other pro athletes are taking to Twitter to remember Mr. B. Arizona Coyotes president and CEO Aaron Cohen tweeting in part, Mr. Bidwell was a visionary and one of NFL's great leaders. He gave his heart and soul to the Cardinals, and under his guidance, the team has become a model sports franchise.
Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald sharing this photo with the caption, "The NFL family lost a pioneer today." Bill Bidwell loved the Arizona Cardinals and the great state of Arizona. He paved the way for so many by being on the forefront of giving minorities the opportunity to thrive as coaches and executives.
The National Football League sharing their condolences for the 88-year-old on Twitter as well.
And the Houston Texans tweeting in part, "We extend our deepest sympathies and condolences to the Bidwell family and the Cardinals community during this difficult time." Coming up next on Cronkite News at 5, e-bikers are getting the green lights to hit the trails.
Why you may start seeing more wheels when you visit national parks after the break.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Right now, more than 30 bison are being moved from the Grand Canyon to join a herd in Oklahoma. The plan to reduce the herd by shipping them to other locations was made by officials 2 years ago because the bison are causing damage to both water sources and the landscape. Several other bison were fitted with tracking devices and released back into the park.
With temperatures cooling down, many Arizonans will find themselves hitting the trails.
But now you can hit the trails on foot or set of electric wheels. Thanks to the National Park Service.
Cronkite News reporter Melanie Porter shares just where you'll find these desert riders.
It is a change on our trails.
Ray O'Neill doesn't think these bikes will have a big impact on Saguaro National Park.
The vast majority of our trails do not allow traditional bikes and therefore don't allow electronic bikes with the new policy. But we do have several trails where traditional bikes were allowed and now electronic bikes will be allowed.
E-bikes are gaining traction in Arizona, but Aaron Navarro saw some pushback when he took to the trails on an e-bike.
And we actually had like a hiker take a second look at us and be like, oh, those guys aren't real mountain bikers. So there's definitely, even not just within cyclists, but kind of just in general, there is that kind of view that just because you're not pedaling as hard doesn't make you as good or something like that.
But for James Lorenzen, he sees e-bikes becoming more popular among baby boomers who would prefer the ease and comfort that comes with electronic bikes.
Really all over the world. We're a little bit behind Europe by about 6-7 years, and we're seeing less and less people getting uptight with operating around e-bikes. What they're finding out is that they're just a regular bike.
Now these bikes are allowed on trails within national parks. Some people are concerned about the potential environmental impact that e-bikes could have on the national parks. However, park rangers believe that if visitors are mindful and respect the previously established biking rules within the park, the environment will have little to no impact.
The trails where we allow traditional bikes also allow hikers and horseback riders and now e-bikes, and if we start to see conflicts, we do have the opportunity to rein in one of those uses.
As far as safety concerns, education and caution is key.
We'll continue to educate and get folks to understand that our scenic drive, the biggest place that people come To use bikes in the park is a great scenic drive, which means you're going nice and slow and you're enjoying the scenery.
And enthusiasts are hoping that the industry will only pedal forward once people can fully experience the joy of e-bikes. In Tucson, Melanie Porter, Cronkite News.
You know, electric bikes are really cool and everything, but I'm a unicycle guy, so I need them to invent an electric unicycle. It's a lot of pedaling on the calves. Listen.
I don't know if I'm balanced enough for a unicycle, but I am a traditional bicyclist.
You know, I'll do a stationary, but I don't think I'm really a biker. But how are we going to ride into this weekend, Quentin?
We are riding into this weekend on a pretty smooth trail. Take a look. This is what we're experiencing right now. The upper 80s around the valley area, going up to 89 in Phoenix right now. That's your high for today. Then we're getting into the mid 70s as we move up north a little bit, and then down into the mid 60s around the Grand Canyon and Flagstaff area here. Then around the Colorado River Valley area, 86 degrees down to up to 90 down in Yuma there. So not too bad. We've seen worse, and we most certainly will see worse, but I'll show you that in a minute. First, our evening planner for today, 5 p.m., about 89 degrees. We're moving down only to 77 by 10 p.m. Your sunset for tonight is scheduled for 6:11 p.m. tonight. Taking a look at your day for tomorrow, we're starting off pretty cold. We're at 71 by 8 a.m., then moving all the way up to 81 by 10 a.m., a 10-degree spike. Then we're up to 94 by 4 p.m. That is your high for today. But speaking of those cool temperatures, we are seeing some. I'll show you right here. Take a look right now. 36 in the Grand Canyon. You know, my apartment freezer doesn't even get that cold. You don't need to worry about snow because we're not seeing any precipitation around here, but you are going to need a winter jacket as you move into your morning commute and your day tomorrow. But we are spiking up again into warmer temperatures. 96 is your high for tomorrow in Phoenix, then the mid 90s on the western portion of the state, and then about 75 around the northern half of the state. Let me walk you through your forecast this week. We've got not too much going on, some perfect skies as we move across the week, and then some big lows here. We're at 97 on Saturday then for your high, and then 68 for your low. So that's a 30-degree difference. Then Sunday, we're seeing some clouds, but not too much going on. With your weather, I'm Quentin Walker.
Thank you, Quentin. Up next, take a dive with us into Pinnacle High School's football history.
And see why they have a stellar track record churning out some of college football's most promising quarterbacks.
With wildfires, a scarcity of water, and other environmental issues facing the Earth today, it's critical to stay up to date with local impacts of a changing climate. That's why we created Elemental, covering sustainability, a multimedia collaboration between public television and radio stations. From climate change to water conservation to renewable energy and much more, Elemental covers the latest in sustainability news. Find our stories on our website, elementalreports.com.
A football program right here in Phoenix has developed quite the talent at the quarterback position, as their last two quarterbacks have gone to 2 Power 5 schools, and they're about to send their third. Cronkite sports reporter Corey Kirk was on the sidelines at Pinnacle High School to get us the scoop on the Pioneers' lineage. What were you able to find out, Corey?
An offense cannot survive without a strong field general. After their last 2 quarterbacks have gone Division I, the Pioneers were left in the hands of their senior quarterback, soon to be a Wolverine. The boys of fall are back once again for the Pinnacle Pioneers, and one of those leading the way is senior quarterback J.D. Johnson.
JD's a team guy, and I know we all have the same team goal, and he's very tight with his classmates, and he's a part of what I consider to be a very special group of seniors.
Quarterback success has been the norm in recent years for the Pioneers, as Brian Lewerke, now a senior at Michigan State, and Spencer Rattler, a freshman for the Oklahoma Sooners, once donned the Pioneer logo. Head coach Dana Zupke credits the program's adaptability to each QB's strengths to their success.
With the type of quarterbacks we were getting, and when we started committing more to, running an offense that opens it up and throws the ball more, and, with the receivers and the athletes, comes better talent at that position.
Johnson started taking consistent snaps last year, first as an injury replacement for Rattler. He then took over the Pioneer offense after Rattler was ruled ineligible midway through the season. Sitting behind the #1 quarterback in the nation prepared Johnson to be the Pioneers' new field general.
Really molded me to where I am today, and just going back to competing with him, I mean, he made me better every day. Everything was a competition with him, and I love that.
After leading the Pioneers to the semifinals his junior season, Johnson rang in the new year with a verbal commitment to the University of Michigan.
I ended up going up there for a bowl practice and just fell in love right when I stepped on campus, fell in love with Coach Harbaugh, Coach McDaniels, everything about the program.
After accomplishing so much he has set out to do, Johnson has one thing left: to bring a trophy back to Pinnacle.
I just want to bring Pinnacle a state championship. I've really fulfilled everything else. I have a great relationship with everybody here.
And he hopes to lead his brothers to Pinnacle's first 6A championship in the program's history. Once his last high school football snap is played and he signs on that dotted line, JD told me he isn't waiting for the college experience. He's graduating from Pinnacle early and enrolling into the University of Michigan this winter to get an early start on the playbook. From here in the Media Center, I'm Corey Kirk, Cronkite Sports.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, another Valley City looks to revamp its recycling program due to increasing costs. And we'll hear from the new artistic director of the Phoenix Corral. That's on the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, the President, the Attorney General, and the Secretary of State are now at the heart of the impeachment inquiry. Coming up after Cronkite News and Arizona Horizon on Arizona PBS.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.